what you bring up, Father, is significant because I think one of the unspoken but yet real questions, not in a negative sense, but in an invitational sense, is never before in history have we had so many, or existence period, but so many good lay theologians, because when we come out to canon law, different states in life, different contexts, whether seminaries, a different context than the parish, which is different than the secular university, which is different from the pontifical university. And so then the question is right now, how do lay and clerical theologians share and enter into the task of sacred theology? And we all know, we all have people we know and admire that are priest theologians, religious theologians, and lay theologians. And this is an interesting thing because we all come from different states in life to a conference, even a discussion here. We have diocesan, we have religious, we have lay. And yet, and we all, we can enter into a common discussion, but I think one of the questions that the next generation is going to have to look at is how exactly does this work? Because historically, obviously, it was primarily theology was a clerical or religious discipline. And I don't think anyone at this table would say that let's get rid of Declue and Minor, get out of here. No, we're not saying that at all. But it is something that has not yet been explicitly formulated. And you can see, and I can speak from, we have friends, I'm sure too, but I have friends who have PhDs in theology from even Catholic universities, but they're still secular degrees, Doctor of Philosophy and Theology. And they've wanted to work with different pontifical universities, different bishops, and you can see bishops understandably saying, well, we almost need you to go get a pontifical degree. So even practically, this creates, even amongst theologians of standing and learning and good influence, the question vis-a-vis different states in life, which we see talked about in the Code of Canon Law. I think that's something that merits a systematic reflection presently. Father Pido, because you teach at a pontifical university.
It's true. I got my doctorate I have a PhD, and I teach at a pontifical university, actually. So I'm actually sort of underqualified in the sense to teach at a pontifical university, because I'm supposed to have an ecclesiastical doctorate, towards which I'm gradually working. But anyway, these are the, but I do think it raises, in some ways it returns back to an earlier question today, or from yesterday, when we were speaking about, let's say, the public-facing quality of theology. And it strikes me that universities, maybe specialize in public-facing theology, whereas seminaries often specialize in the kind of theology in which the church deals with its own business ad intra, and therefore can kind of have its own language and develop its own internal theological culture in the way that any discipline does. Law firms have their own internal language, the legal practice does, the medical field has its own internal language. They also have to be able to explain these things to a patient, and so they have to be able to have a public-facing quality to it too. But they've also got their internal language, which is efficient and technical and allows them to quickly get to the heart of matters and so forth. And so I think theology needs to have both of those aspects, and I tend to think that seminaries tend to specialize in one and universities more in the other. But to specialize in either, you're going to have some of these other aspects, talk about that ecclesial rootedness, simply because, for one thing, unlike in philosophy and other disciplines, the first principles of theology are revealed and therefore arrive to us through authority. And so therefore, the discipline of theology, even in a university context, can't have the kind of autonomy that philosophy could have in a university context, where the principles from which it proceeds are evident to all and can be sort of debated on that level, because they only arrive at us through tradition, through participation in the liturgy, through the statements of the magisterium, through Scripture. So unless there's a fundamental rootedness in that ecclesial life, then you're actually missing the first principles of theology. And so it'd be like somebody who for instance, had some kind of rational incapacity trying to do philosophy, but who wasn't actually able to reason, in the normal human way. And so I think those are some of my initial thoughts.